Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation of South Africa's YouTube channel. Um, on the 25th of September, it will be Fredreich's Ataxia Awareness Day. And so to speak to us today is Andrew Marshall. Andrew is an author. He's a Fredreich's Ataxia stalwart, and he's also one of the old dogs, like me. We've been living with NMDs for longer than we can remember. So I think there'll be lots of wisdom today. Thank you, Andrew, and thank you for the time and welcome.
Thank you, Marius. It is great to be honest. As always, it's always great to share my flavor of the diversity with other people. But this time, most of your subscribers were probably in a similar boat to you and I. If not, they know people in opposition. One thing you said that I'm an old dog, and it's all relative because I've met some people in person and online on forums in their mid-60s, and I read about somebody in his 70s overseas. So that's kind of all relative.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. Maybe we are actually just beginning the journey. Let me kick off with the diagnosis, as I always do. You were diagnosed at a time when doctors maybe didn't understand these NMDs that well. And I know from my personal experience, I was diagnosed with something called CMT, which also has a name that's very similar to motor neuron disease, motor sensory neuropathy. And so it was almost like, and I know my doctor gave me a much better diagnosis, or could I say, a less serious diagnosis. Now, in your case, it was not clear, and it was believed that maybe, you had limited life experience. So that must have had an impact on you. What can you tell us about how it affected you, the diagnosis in those early days?
Yeah, it was a really weird time. The clinical gene or whatever, I don't really know the technical terms, was only isolated in 1995, and I was diagnosed with a blood test in 1996, and the doctors really didn't know exactly what was cracking. They diagnosed me with Fredreich's, but they didn't really understand the time frame. And as you say, some doctors were giving us condolences and saying, thinking it was like motor neuron and I only had 5 years to live. And this was really really difficult for my mother and myself to wrap our heads around um how, how my future and planning for my future. So to cut a long story short, I didn't. And I just had a body and I spoiled my socks and I drank way too much alcohol and I was just having a body and then a couple of years later I realized, I'm not dead yet. And by that time the internet was more accessible and I was able to read more about it and I saw that we live a longer life. But I think a lot of people I have met with the same disease. Oh, by the way, I like to call it Fred's because it's Fredreich's Ataxia. But a lot of the people that I've met with the disease in South Africa and online, they also had massive problems with timelines and things like that, working out how long we've got to live, because when you read online or anything, it says that it's a life shortening condition, and that's very ambiguous, but it is what it is. Or the other thing is, in retrospect, I would have loved to have studied, but this wasn't the case because I was having too much of a party and stuff. But to be able to study and make more of myself when I was younger and more able, but also and it's got nothing to do with Fred's, is I'm horribly dyslexic. So I would never have been able to study psychology, which is what I really wanted to do.
Yeah, and I mean, now you understand the disease much better. And it's like you're living with this disease for so many years, you understand it better. But as I understand, it's also like LMGD, limb-girdle muscular dystrophy, that I've got. There's no cure at the moment. Is there something on the horizon that you are watching? Are we all watching and waiting? I saw there was a big breakthrough with Duchenne just recently. Um, are you watching it, or are you just missioning on like the rest of us do?
There are cures on the horizon, and actually the FDA has just approved a drug that is supposed to slow down your progression, and in some cases they say it's even altered progression. which would have been great for me when I was a lot younger. Even now, it would be great. But the thing is, like a lot of these drugs, I've got a friend with SMA, and there's a drug out for his thing that costs $2 million, which is out of the realm of people. But my drug, which is a monthly, I think it's a tablet, it costs $450,000 a month. And I think the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation is advocating for us to get it on the medical aids and through rare diseases and stuff like that. But it's a bit pricey for me.
For anyone, basically, unless you're a 1%er, and even then it's going to be, tough. Andy, you do exercise like I do, but I think you mentioned you do it with a biokineticist. What kind of exercises do you do, and what's the benefit for you of those exercises?
I've always gone to the gym and kept myself flexible and done exercise. But when COVID happened, I decided to stop going to gym, and I so now I go to biokineticist, which is helping me immensely. I mean, at gym, I really didn't concentrate on my core and stuff like that. I was just pumping iron to get my guns looking good, which because of the FA, it wasn't really happening all that well. But yeah, so I've always done exercise because I feel when you exercise, releases endorphins into the brain, which are make you feel really good, and it also just helps with my range of movements and my keeping me supple and stuff. I've suffered from bouts of depression and anxiety throughout my life, and it's not all because of FA, but obviously some things are a bit depressing. And I've always used exercise as a tool to help me combat that, because after you go for a good workout, you feel really good. Yeah, So exercises and stretching. Yeah, and after COVID, I started stretching really vigorously. I'm a lot more supple now than I was. So yeah, that's really important to me.
Yeah, I mean, I just have to add, I know a little bit about partying and smoking my socks. And this, as you said, I also tried to gym and sort of, I looked like bees stung me. So it's actually very interesting. There are a lot of similar things I can recognize. But you wrote a memoir, a book, a novel, a memoir, call it what you like, called Dissecting Wobbles. And was that also a way of dealing with the depression, or was it just to show the world, look, this is what I had to go through. This is what persons like living with NMDs have to go through every day. Was that, am I correct in that?
You know, it was a bit of both because it was really cathartic,
Hmm.
a cathartic experience, and um, yeah. So uh, sorry, Dad.
No,
Can
no, I
you?
mean, the cathartic got me as well because I also wrote, when I wrote my novel, it was, I sat days and cried, pouring into, some of the characters, all of the emotional stuff that was just hidden. So yeah, I understand.
So yeah, it was a cathartic experience. Um, but at the same time, I was trying to show people what it feels like to be living a body that is breaking down. So yeah, and while I was writing it, it took me 10 years, not full-time writing, but just writing bits here and there. And while I was writing um, it just put what I was dealing with in the forefront of my mind. And it kind of made it easier to navigate. Um,
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, after I written my novel, um, it's almost as though I put all the stuff that I didn't want to deal with into that novel, and now that's it. I didn't even care about whether it was selling or it was self-published. Um, because you know as well as I do, I asked some advice from you about the publishing back then. You know as well as I do, it's not easy to sell disability anything to the general public. I mean, you have to be. It's possible, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit too weird.
you know, absolutely. Trying to get my book published was really difficult. Um, because if you're not like if you're not famous or something, if you're not driven nowhere, no one really wants to publish it. And there are publishers that specialize in disability. But she turned me down as well. So, well, she said she had too many other projects on the go. So, um, eventually I got it also self-published, but I self-published with a publisher that they do assisted self-publishing. So they've got to accept your manuscript, and then they put it into the shops and they put online and stuff like that. So it was really a great experience. And then getting all the feedback from around the world, and I still get the odd email from somebody that said, I've just read your book and it's really transformed the way I think about disability and think about my own life. And that is exactly why I set out to write the book.
Other than writing and exercise, what else do you enjoy that gives meaning to your life and socially and so on?
Well, besides being in the bush and um exercise, as I've explained, one of my biggest passions is to help other people, other disabled guys, maybe less fortunate. And after I wrote the book, I was working on a project to get computers and computer tablets into the hands of other disabled guys. And I was all just about ready to pull the trigger. And I had donors, and I had a website made up, and I had lots of press releases and stuff like that. And then COVID happened, and the world went haywire, and funding dried up, and so I was asked to put it on the back burner, and this obviously was really a big deal for me, and I went into another pit of immense depression, and that was really difficult, but I'm working on a few ways, and hopefully a few things, and hopefully that project can be revitalized. Maybe not to the extent that myself and some other friends of mine were thinking about it, maybe on a smaller scale.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to send this out into the community and into the interweb. So if there are people watching, they should watch the space. And yeah, good. Also, what advice can you give to, I mean, you enjoy helping people, but just pure advice about, I'm not sure if it's philosophically or how 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 to navigate this disease and life. If you can give it, I mean, anyone with an NMD can benefit.
you know, um, when I was first diagnosed with this, when I was 16, I wish that there were more people out there that could help me navigate the way forward like they are now with technology and stuff, and everyone's a phone call away or an email away. So my advice to somebody who's just been diagnosed with this thing or something like this is everybody's body is uniquely different. But at the same time, particularly with my thing, FA is the majority of people follow the same trajectory as myself and some of my good friends with FA. And you are not going to die. I mean, there are people that die in their 20s, but the majority of people who manifest the disease during puberty will live into their 40s and 50s. So I think that is my best advice, is just go speak to doctors and neurologists and stuff like that, but also just speak to the general community, and this can be done on FA forums and Facebook forums and stuff like that, which is such a great help.
Yeah, I mean, don't go into denial. Don't avoid the problem, because in today's day and age, everything is there. Back in the day, we were alone. We were all like islands, and no man or no person is an island. So yeah. One last thing. I see we're almost we're getting near almost out of time. So uh, can you give us one quote that may change someone's life, and that resonates with you, and that's close to your heart?
Absolutely. I might be paraphrasing, but Helen Keller, she wrote, I used to cry about my shoes until I met a man with no feet. And this is really getting close to my heart, because from doing volunteer work at the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation and just meeting many other disabled people out there, there are always people in far worse off positions than you are. So you can be having a really bad day and think that your life is the worst in the world. But in reality, there are so many people out there that that have far worse problems than you could ever have. And I think people need to realize this. And like now, with the internet and technology, as we've discussed before, this the world is coming closer together. And when we were young, you and I were younger, the people couldn't really see other people and the struggles they went through. So it's always you've always got to think the other people in so far worse of positions than you and I.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I wish we can do another one, and I think we will get the opportunity to do some volunteer work together. But thank you so much for your time, Andy, and yeah, it's really inspiring speaking to you.
Not,
I used to think that it's a bad word if when someone tells you that you're inspiring, but for those of us who live with these diseases, but I think we should embrace it more and be thankful for that much more.
thank you so much. When yes, it was really great to speak to you guys, and I hope your viewers get something out of it. And yeah, I'll definitely volunteer with you on other stuff as well.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you so much.